Well, so we're ready now to do the talk on AM Talk. I have my guest, Emmanuel Chairmanting Ejakon. He is, right?
Yeah,
he is a member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wagon. He is in the house to help us do the discussions this morning. And thanks for joining us, basically.
Thanks for having me.
And let's start with some bit of issues, especially when we have to talk about from Parliament, where we have, according to your side of the House in Parliament, government embezzled money meant for JDM that was meant for other expenditure, and it's something that the minority is still insisting on for the last couple of days. And the story reads, as it has been represented on the front page of the Daily Searchlight, that well, the minority leader, Osechi Mensah-Bosu, is insisting that the NDC government embezzled vast sums of state money in its quest to boost President John Dramani Mahama. He has stated that his employment of the word embezzle was very apt, since that was exactly what the government did at the time to maintain President John Dramani Mahama in office. In a rejoinder titled 2.8 billion Ghana cedi embezzle to Project Mahama in 2012, Osechi Mensah-Bosu, who is the minority leader, stated that his attention has been drawn to a response from the presidency in respect of an interview he granted to a broadcasting house concerning government expenditure over the 2012 period. And if we take a look at this very subject or this very issue, is it not overflogged? And once perhaps your side of the house has not been in a position to put forward some credible evidence to support that, apart from the fact that there's been over expenditure on as far as the budget is concerned.
So therefore, first and foremost, let me say, use this opportunity to say a very good morning to our cherished listeners, and the picture behind me, a most respected journalist of our time, Kumla Apeke-Dumont. May he rest in peace. The elders have a saying that I think that he has lived a good life. In Nigeria, when people expire, you know, they describe it with gratitude to God for a life well lived. I think that we will all be very grateful to God that when he had opportunity, he lived his life well. I don't know him very well. I mean, he's an acquaintance, but in the last year or so, his father has become my friend. We sit and chat together with Mr. Jesse, and I want to say that I have tremendous respect for the father. I feel very, very distraught myself for his father. I send my most heartfelt condolences to his father and his sister and his brother and his wife and children that I don't know. But like the Bible says, he's fought the fight, he's run his race. I pray the good Lord will let the soil lie gently on him. Having said this, I think that you have even been contradictory yourself.
Really?
That we don't have evidence, but we agree that there has been over expenditure.
Well, there's over expenditure, but it's not been linked to the fact that it's been used to project John Mahama to become president.
Okay, so do you agree that there was over expenditure?
Well, everybody agrees.
Massive over expenditure.
Oh, everybody agrees.
Over expenditure that has never happened.
According to the figures that come, yeah.
Yeah, and like over expenditure that has never happened to this country, in this country. You know, I remember 2009 when NDC came in. Government had overrun its budget. And let me establish that between 2007 to 2008, the whole world went through a major crisis. An economic meltdown that has not happened. They say that beyond the 32 depression.
Well, it trickled into 2009 as well. So it was not exceptional. It was not exceptional, peculiar to those 2 years.
I am saying that that is when it started. And when it starts, all of a sudden, you have a plan, and then all of a sudden you see the whole thing melting down. I mean, if you listen to the news, I'm sure you do, being a newspaper, it is now that the IMF is saying that the world may be coming out of the consequences of what happened in 2008. So I want to establish
that
2008 was a particularly difficult year for the world. And we had our impact here. It's reflected in a budget deficit of 6%. What I want to say is that I want to contextualize. I want to place the difficulty we had in 2009 in context. Okay, 2008 in context. The world was just, the economy was just, the world economy
it had just started. It's not.
It started in 2007.
Yes, but it had just started from the late 2007 down to 2008.
So 2008
to 2009 up to now, and you're now agreeing that according to the experts, now the world is coming out of that recession. So over the last 4 years, we've been through it.
The point I am making
is
this. In 2009, NDC, some of the communicators sat and said such unpalatable things about the outgoing government.
Really?
Oh, have you forgotten that we had a budget deficit of 6% and used unprintable words on the government that had just left? You see, but God is not like a human being. In your own election year, you ended up with a deficit that is record 12%, double that which you thought was unheard of. So you see, let us establish the basis. So there was some over expenditure between August and December. Government found 8 billion cedis internally and spent it. We didn't build a bridge. We didn't build nothing. On conspicuous consumption.
You're in Parliament, so if such approvals were made, and of course...
I am saying no approvals were made.
Well, some of them were outside the budget, of course.
Completely.
Yes, we agree.
Yes.
We agree. But we have seen government spokespeople, government officials come to justify why those expenditures
What was the justification?
Well,
number one, they will tell you about overrun with the single spine. You overrun. There is an over expenditure of 8 billion, and you are attributing 1.8 billion to an overrun of single spine. You know what you need to begin to ask is, government told us that they were going to do the expenditures over a period of 5 years. Let us begin to ask, why were they made? When you do, they'll say, oh, they were under pressure. Oh, is that what government is about? Number two, sometimes, you know, I get worried about the way things run. They say that they were expecting taxes from oil. There are agreements that are signed. And all of us that are literate should be able to read the document and know that in this financial year, we should expect no taxes from. So if you go on to say that, if you have a document which says that the oil companies will not pay any taxes to you within this period, and in a budget you factor that in, it is one of two things. Either you are just being disingenuous. You know that it won't come, but you are putting it in to help your revenue side of the budget.
Well, budgets are always assumptions based on accruals that you hope you will collect one way or the other from various sectors.
I agree completely with you.
You agree?
I agree completely with you.
Why would that be a line item in the budget for you to be disagreeing with?
But you see, there is a document which says, I mean, I employ you and tell you that I will not take, or you come into my employer and I say that I will not pay you for 6 months. If I go out there and put an expenditure on you in 6 months, how would you describe it? Are we saying that we didn't know what the document said? They say that the shortfall, it is very specific. The shortfall came from taxes that were not paid by the oil companies. Did somebody make reference to did somebody in the Ministry of Finance make reference to whether we were expecting that revenue to come at all. No. The agreement you had signed very clearly indicated that that was not going to come. So,
if we would have to take the current issues as they are, and also being raised by your side of the house,
but you see, going forward.
And with the government communication people coming out to say it's just also a disingenuous way on your part to be politicking at this time of the year, particularly because it inures politically to your benefit.
Oh, but we are not doing Salvation Army here. We are doing politics. Who said that we are doing Salvation Army? Who said that politics is about Salvation Army? Politics is about politics, and they do it worse than we do. But we are speaking to the issues.
To the truth.
Look, how would anybody explain that in September you sign an agreement with RLG to supply 100,000 laptops? The year ends December. The financial year ends December. You to supply 100,000 laptops, and you go ahead and pay him the 50 million cedis up front. First and foremost, I want everything that is done within the context of a law.
So
there's a Financial Administration Act, and then there's a Financial Administration Regulation. What they did even goes against the grain of the FAR. In this country, nobody is paid up front. Nobody is. Then you pay the man 50 million in September or November.
For supplies.
For supplies.
So invariably, what you're saying is that there was misapplication of funds. Is that what you're saying? Misapplication of whatever it is in terms of whatever was on the budget.
You see, this was at a time when there were huge arrears on NHIA. That fund had not been paid. DACF had not been paid. So, governments, why do you know, core to this is why do we elect people to take care of us? We elect people so that they will manage. I agree, our scarce resources. What is the way to manage your scarce resources? Now, when critical issues, when issues of health have not been taken care of, you go ahead and pay RLG 50 million. And then when they came to, I happened to be on the Committee for Environment, Science and Technology. When they came in 2013, we asked a question. So out of this 100,000, how many were supplied? They said, I've not verified, they said 26,000. That is a quarter. This is where then you go ahead and pay money to somebody to do training. You go ahead and pay money to do training, and then after 1 year. So
your point is, with all these you are citing, your point is.
Yes, the point is, if you want to use the word misapplied, I will not contend with you.
No, I'm asking a question. Do you mean by that? You just have to tell me no. I don't. That's all.
I leave the good people that are viewing to determine that if you apply state funds in this way, and then and the minority leader goes ahead and says that you did all of this.
But if the criticism is that the minority leader has been mischievous, because we all know that all these you're citing, we know there have been investigations conducted. Yes. Investigations are still going on. Yes. We've had some prosecutions to the effect, or being undertaken to the effect. Yes. And so, if these are cited, do you think you're being fair to government? That's the whole point. But
you see, fundamentally, what we must agree.
We have to take a short break because your colleague is here. Amasana Mwale is a member of parliament for La Dade Kotopong. He will be joining Emmanuel Ejakon, who is also the member of parliament for Ayawaso West Wogon, all in the Greater Accra region. And so, it's not going to be a fisticuff. They're just going to exchange words. Just part of the discussion. It is AM Talk on the AM Show, which is live on the Joy News channel of Multi TV. We're taking a short break. We'll be right back. Well, so we're ready. Now we've been joined by Ni Amasana Mwale. He's a member of parliament for La Dade Kotopong. Well, Ni Amasa, you're putting your phone on silent. You don't want your constituents to be calling you. Okay, that's cool. But the minority leader in the House, of which you're a member, keep insisting, and I've been hearing this for the last couple of days, that government really embezzled money for projecting or to project JDM, John Dramani Mahama, prior to the 2012 elections, and that resulted in the overruns that we had in the budget. You're very much familiar with issues of budget overruns, etc.
Oh, well.
And over expenditure by government. Your government, the NDC government.
Well, you know, the minority leader has been talking a lot, and initially he said we stole money. Then later on he said the money were used for projects, and because of that there is deficit that cannot be paid. Projects that were used to galvan for or to amass votes for JDM to win an election. An election that they say was rigged. And you see, when the minority leaders speak outside parliament, I take it with a pinch of salt. When he speaks in parliament, you know...
You know that he's speaking for parliament.
Yes, he's speaking for
parliament. But when he speaks outside, did you have a difficulty?
Most of the time when he speaks outside parliament, you have to take it with a pinch of salt.
Is it just a minority leader? Because any politician?
Not any politician, I mean the minority leader. Because immediately after the election, when NDC won, NDC was declared that they are the winners. And he went to Kumasi, and then he told his supporters that, oh, we have recruited a very tutu in Akan, a very experienced and knowledgeable IT personnel who has gone into all the pink sheets, and they saw that 150,000 votes were taken from Nana Akufo-Addo and then added to JDM.
And your point is?
And my point is that was eventually not true. And even they didn't even bring it to the court when they went to the court.
So you're saying he doesn't have credibility?
He has not come to even apologize to the people of
So you're saying he doesn't have credibility,
I will not say that. I say he has not even apologized. He has even this that he said money was stolen or taken, etc. He hasn't given us any proof.
Okay.
He's just throwing it into the air.
He's made some citations, and for which I believe is public knowledge. For example, in the financial year 2012, and this was a public statement read before Parliament, carried live by various media houses, there were overruns, overrun in excess of over 90%, we're being told.
So is that stealing?
Huh?
Is that stealing?
Is that stealing?
If you are as a government,
that's his description.
Even Kufuor government overspent. You understand? Was he stealing the money? That's not stealing.
Well, he is a politician, and he feels that
is not stealing. But he is saying JDM has stolen money. But when we came out, it is not stealing. It is money every government, in the quest of giving project to your people, in the quest of doing things that will benefit the people, you sometimes overspend. But let me tell you something. The country is there to take care of the people. The country is there to take care of the people. So if we are going to die, and we need water to survive, you say, I don't want to borrow to get water for my people not to die. You know, so if people need schools, people need hospital, and you have a source that you can get money to give your people the school, the needed education, to give the people the health facilities that they need that will keep them healthy. You're telling us that we shouldn't do it. But when you are in government, you are doing it. Is it stealing? This is not stealing. So you should stop. You see, most of the time I always say that these MPP people, they are MPP propagandists, or most of the MPP members, they keep deceiving their people and keep deceiving their people. And even before they went to the Supreme Court, they gathered their MPs and deceived them.
What do you mean by that?
Oh yes, they gathered their MPs, show them some.
So you're saying that
they show them some PowerPoint presentation how the election, the votes were carried from this place and then added to this place. When they got to the court,
we're not discussing. We're not discussing
telling you something that
I know.
I'm just attacking their credibility.
Yes, I know
that even their own MPs they deceived them.
Well,
how much more the people of Ghana?
So you're saying all these actions are just deceitful actions?
It's deceptive.
Now, where lies the justification then that, apart from the excuse that there was excessive spending in the area of salaries for public sector workers because of the implementation of the single spine pay policy, that the accusation from the NPP has been that there are no physical evidence of whatever projects that you are touting for everybody to witness?
About 46% of children out of school are not in school. When we were taking over, we were 500,000, almost 500,000 children out of school.
All that was achieved in the last 3 months of 2012?
About 46. Oh, I'm talking up to, okay, you're talking of 2012.
No.
We used project to make a campaign in my constituency. If they said they haven't seen anything, in his constituency, there's a place called Mimpasem. At least, in front of a meteorological department, there was a drain that was constructed.
Just after East Legon, just within there?
Trinity College, from Trinity College.
That's the excuse? Just for a drain?
I'm only citing one, just one in his own constituency. In my constituency, a lot, it's not a shame, a lot.
Just like in other communities,
just like in other
communities. I'm giving you all this time because he was here and also had a free range. He had a whole pitch to talk.
So if the people come to tell you that they cannot see it, if they wanted to see what they want, I'm citing one, at least one drain in his constituency that I know. And there were so many things that I don't even know. There was some, the road from the main, the junction, the traffic light from Legon, then that you go to Trinity College, it was asphalted to American House, 2012. So if they come out and they are trying to throw dust, I say, I'm not surprised because they gathered their own MPs and deceived them. And then when they went to court, different went there.
You respond. Don't you find it very peculiar that many of these overruns happened in the last 3 months prior to the end of 2012?
Well, I haven't sat down to analyze.
You haven't?
But what I know.
All those figures came out in the early part of last year, 2013.
Let me tell you something.
So I'm sure by now you would have done your analysis.
No. These things were not. They just shoot this thing that I'm hearing now. When the minority leaders started talking about it. But all what I'm saying, you see, they will try as much as possible to confuse Ghanaians. I know them. You understand? They try to confuse Ghanaians. But all what I'm saying is that all that they are saying, there was overrun. But these overruns were used for projects that are benefiting Ghanaians.
No matter the substance in the argument.
First and foremost, you see, I take exceptions to some of the things he's saying here. That before the court case, the MPs were gathered together and PowerPoints. Was he there? Who said this? I take exceptions to. I am not me.
Well,
nobody deceived me.
Are you assuming, sir? Because
I'm not assuming.
Because the PowerPoint.
I would say some of their MPs, most of their MPs were gathered. Maybe he wasn't there, but I am saying on authority that they were gathered. They were showing some PowerPoint presentation to convince them that they need to go to court. When they went to court, what was presented to them as MPs was different from what was presented in court. That is the MPP for you. And I said they can deceive everybody, even including their own MPs.
You've made your point, sir.
Yes.
I am saying that I take exceptions. I speak for the 123 members of parliament.
You're saying he's lying?
He is lying, and I think that he should withdraw it. He can say, speak to some
your MPs.
I maintain that this is
their MPs. Some of their MPs who were there are listening, and they know what I'm saying.
So you are insisting.
I'm insisting because I heard it from about 2 or 3 MPs.
Did you get information from
their own people who told me that in fact when we went there.
So you are not withdrawing?
I'm not withdrawing because I know what I'm saying is true.
Please.
I know what I'm saying.
Two of you are honorable members of.
Yes, I know what I'm saying is true. He knows what I'm saying is true.
It's okay. Relax.
I cannot accept this. I cannot accept this. You talk about deceit. You are now telling him that between August and December, 8 billion, and then he's sitting in front of the viewing public and saying he's not aware.
I've not told you 8 billion. I'm saying that there were some peculiar expenditures in the last 3 months.
Look, sometimes I don't think that we should argue and raise our voices. We need to ask ourselves some fundamental questions.
Which are?
Is it true or it's not true?
That the expenditures were
these are things you can find out from the bank.
No, this is public.
This is public knowledge.
Yes.
Is it true or it's?
I don't deny.
Let him make his point.
When you spoke, I didn't utter a word.
Oh, sorry.
Between August and December, the government found 8 billion and paid for expenditures. They were consumption expenditures.
What do you mean by consumption expenditures?
Okay, let him make his point. Then you no.
Okay.
No, sir. Be fair to me.
Okay.
There was nothing developmental about that expenditure. Nothing. Not one. The monies were paid. They say we say Office of the President. They say no. It is called something about government machinery. About 600 million. Some went to Ministry of Sports. Another said 600 million. I think the breakdown is there.
Yes, it's there.
Very clearly, public.
Actually, published extensively.
Public.
All right. So your point is?
And I have cited 1 or 2 examples. How can you take 50 million? And indeed, I sit.
Well, but that's the only example you've been setting all along. But
no. I can go on.
No. Just let's go on with the substantive of what we're talking about. The point is
it not in the same period that money was taken and given to the government? Borrowed money for SADA. Government borrowed 162 million for SADA at interest rates of 25%. And then went ahead and on lend.
But those are for specific projects.
Can I finish? On lend to do 2 things for an unconfirmed projects. And number 2, for tree planting. Gave out 38 million. In the meantime, there is a government agency that is responsible for plantation development. We need to ask, the whole year, 2012, what budgets did they have? Then government goes ahead and gives 38 million
so your
for
point
something
is
that was not executed.
So priority wrong?
So you see, so the money goes away, and if the minority leader says, this is, he describes it aptly, then somebody is
how did he describe it? You don't want to mention it? You think it's foul language?
No, I don't think so.
You said embezzlement.
Yeah, but that is what it amounts to. Ultimately, you understand me? So I mean, I think that this, for me, there is no point in raising our voices. Did these things happen? In anything we do, even in our own houses, if I want to pay school fees, it is all based on a certain cost-benefit analysis. If I put money in my children's education, I do a cost-benefit analysis. For any of these things that have happened, the 8 billion that created a budget deficit of an unprecedented budget deficit of 12%. Indeed, if you add arrears that were not paid in 2013, you are hitting 17 or 18%. You know, these are facts. For me, I don't like to argue.
But to 14%, but you are saying 17, 18%.
No, I say if you add.
But for but for politicians, especially you in the opposition, doesn't it inure to your benefit if you take this very approach?
Yes.
Tell the public and your constituents that all these were.
Yeah. So you know, I think that politics is about a contest of ideas, and every politician seeks advantage.
And that's what you're doing now. And that's what you're doing now.
It is not. But I think that at least if we will speak to the issues, what is important is that, are they factual? The things I am saying, are they factual? Is it true or is not true?
Okay. You think they are creating propaganda out of this? Or they're making too much politics out of it?
Not that they're making too much politics. You see, as I keep saying, for the MPP, I'm not surprised.
So you don't care. You know what? You don't care, no matter the content of what they are saying.
Is it what they are saying? If it is actually true that the money has been embezzled, he's a member of parliament. Chairman says a member of parliament. Have they 5 questions to the ministers responsible for such things to ask questions? They know they cannot, because they know when they file questions in parliament, the answers will be given.
I remember I remember during the argument or the debate for the 2013 budget, there was a lot of issues raised by the minority on the same subject. The whole of 2013 has been an issue in parliament.
A lot of issues will be raised because when we are arguing on the floor, you can say whatever you want to say with all your immunity, etc., etc. If you want the facts, the actual facts, invite the minister to the minister responsible for whatever you are saying to the floor of parliament for you to come and lie to you. For us to take that minister on. And all what I'm saying is that all what they are saying, they have opportunity to file questions, to bring the minister to come and give answers, because they know that when the minister comes to parliament,
so you're saying until they do that, they shouldn't be taken seriously.
They shouldn't be taken serious.
You've made
then
your
the auditors, as it been reported in the auditors report, or the auditor general's report, that said money that have been embezzled. No, let's wait for the auditor general's report to come that said monies were embezzled. So all what I'm saying is that for the MPP, I know them. Blowing hot air, I know them. If they can gather their own members of parliament to tell them some story that...
He's saying that is not true.
I'm repeating that. I am saying that.
Okay, you are still insisting.
Yes.
All right. Now let's move on to a subject that is going to be linked to politics as well. Because a security group, the West African Network for Peace, the group says Ghana faces a future of violent demonstrations and general political instability if government fails to deal with worsening economic conditions and public discontent over corruption. Well, they made a revelation in their National Human Security Early Warning Report. It was released on Tuesday. And we're talking about just yesterday for those of you in Ghana. Those of you watching outside, please. Tuesday. For instance, one of the data gathered indicated that there was a rising form of criminality, targeted killings or homicides, so to speak, or direct attacks. According to the report, armed robbery accounted for about 38.33% of incidents recorded in the last quarter of 2013. The total number of deaths resulting from these attacks was 10, and 23 injuries being recorded respectively. And there's a certain gentleman who is a national coordinator for WANEP in Ghana, Isaac Bano. He was raising these issues across the media yesterday. But meanwhile, we've had Felix Kwacho Fosu, who is a deputy information minister, coming to quash some of these reports as alarming. He described as worrying when such serious issues are highlighted without being backed by verifiable evidence. Yes. Just by 33% or 38% armed robbery and all. That's the indicator the country is chaotic. He said something about the MPP, though. We'll look at that later.
First and foremost, what is important is to establish over the period has one. I think it is called West African Network for Peace or something.
For peace building. Yes.
A gentleman called Dr. I think
Emmanuel Bombande.
Emmanuel Bombande. First and foremost, let us establish. Are they credible? Over the period, have they been credible? Is it a one-off group that has come and just making noise? I want to believe that all of us will agree, like the lawyers would say, a reasonable man would agree that over the period of 10, 15 years, they have shown a lot of credibility in their analysis.
And
as
a result of that?
So there must be some credibility in this. There must be. I want to premise my whole argument on this.
On that very precedent.
That
they have the credibility.
If they have some credibility, then what they say, if they have established some credibility over their analysis of the security situation in this country or in West Africa over the period, then there must be some credibility in what they are saying. It is not, there is no use in anybody just, this is a crying wolf. This is alarmist. If I am saying again, if I'm repeating, if they have established some credibility, then maybe the ones that power resides with must look at what they are saying and take some corrective measures. After all, the elders say that the one that is cutting the path does not necessarily see his back. Somebody must tell him that you are out. But again, I want to speak to the facts. Are we in a looming economic crisis? Are we in some financial difficulty? Is for instance, I will state on authority, I had some money at the AMA. I can't access it now because I'm told that they have asked that they should return all the monies back to chest. These are monies that I lied down and I was going to intend to use part of it to pay school fees. I'm told that I can't access the funds now because they have returned all those monies to chest.
Why?
It is we need to find out. You understand me? As for me, I think that sometimes, yes, let us all do the politics. Let us even go ahead and do some propaganda. But let it be based on the facts. I'm saying that they are saying that there is discontentment. Is it true? Is the cost of living rising? Is it becoming increasingly difficult? The person that takes trotro from La to Accra every day, the person that pays electricity, the person that pays for water, school fees, is it beginning to pinch a lot more than it was in the past?
Because of that, there could be a likely resurgence of violence.
But you see, let us look at history.
Or mayhem.
Let us look at history.
Or
Anywhere that's
social discontent.
Yes, it happens. It follows.
Which examples are you giving? Are you talking about the Arab Spring?
I don't need to talk about the Arabs, but it happens everywhere.
Or you're talking about historically. You're talking about the 13th century when King Louis suffered all those uprisings.
This is what I'm saying. I say that it is a historically established fact.
Right.
So from the time of human civilization, from the beginning of human civilization, when things have gone against the populace, ultimately these things happen. That is why there's government. That is why government must take corrective measures. Okay. It is as simple as this.
Your point made. On the subject,
well,
increased corruption, perceived economic hardships,
economic
hardship, increased records of the police report on criminality, etc.
I have not seen their report in detail apart from what you have read to me. How were the analysis done? Did they cite 1992 it was this, 1992 it was that, this, and comparative analysis? Did they do that, or they just sat down and they wrote? That is one. As he said, credibility. Well, me, once in a while I hear of them, so I don't know whether they have credibility or they don't have credibility. They are in West Africa. I don't know what they did in Nigeria. I don't know what they did in Gambia. I don't know what they did in Cote d'Ivoire.
Or Liberia.
Etc., etc. So, when people are giving such organizations, or people form such organizations, and they don't establish their credibility, but they will just sit down and then they let political influence get to them.
In one I don't think they do politics.
I'm not saying they do politics. I say if they are influenced by politics.
But you are making such inferences as well.
Yes, if they are influenced by politics, such organizations will no longer stand. They have said it. We have all heard it. But to me, I'm waiting to see whether they did a comparative analysis or they just one up analysis, and they use the word perceive. Once they use the word perceive, it tells you something.
No, it's a report, so
they themselves are not sure, but they have warned us. It is better to be warned, even if you are safe, than to not to be warned at all.
Now let's look at the content. Do you think that the content of the report is true? That we're having some of these difficulties as a result of that. There's discontentment among the population.
I just don't want to say certain things. The discontentment among the population, I would say, not majority of the population, but the MPP have psyched their people to make noise, because you see they are very cunning and very intelligent people. They know how to gather their people. Let them sing Ba Ba Black Sheep, mimic and parrot. Let us do it all over the place, and then Ghanaians will take it on. Now, he has just thrown in something that he could not access his money, his common fund at AMA. Has he contacted the mayor, and the mayor told him that he has paid the money to Chest? He has the mayor's number. Has he contacted the MFO? Has he contacted the MFO, and the MFO told him they have paid the money to Chest? Because just yesterday, when Dade Kotopon was capped out of AMA, some of my common fund remain at AMA. I went, I saw it. They told me to write a letter to access my money back into my or if I have a project to do, I can do it, then they will pay the project. So if I'm sitting here today, because yesterday I was at AMA, that monies have been paid to chess, it's news to me. Because I will have called the mayor to ask, why should you pay me, my MP's common fund to chess? So that's another strategy of my friends. You know me, I know them too well. So whenever they are saying this, you see, when you are in opposition, you try to establish credibility. But if you try and let people mimic,
well, we do understand this is coming from a body that is not political. So
I'm not talking of my brother.
You're trespassing.
I'm not saying OneUp is political. I've commented on what I would say about OneUp. Did they do comparative analysis? Have they published it? Have we seen it? Is what they are saying, is it true or it's not true? I haven't seen it.
Well,
so I cannot say much.
We've seen your deputy minister come out to say
he has denied it.
He said they should back the content of their report with a lot more evidence.
So maybe I may be right that I haven't seen any comparative analysis that they have
and
done.
So because of that, you feel
and
that
even
the report should be seen more skeptically.
Recently, the criminologist,
Professor Atifa,
he was saying government has done very well, that they should continue to maintain the police presence, that it has brought down crime. He said it. But, well, this is an organization, this is an individual. So let us see their comparative analysis or the analysis they made, the points they used to make those analyses. Then we'll take it on.
Mr. Jacob, do you think the government is a state of denial?
Well, I will not be the person to say this. All I will say is, you see, listen to my senior colleague in Parliament say that, oh, these people, they are very clever. They will do
very clever. For that one.
You see, in this country, we have a history when doctors go on strike. In the last 5 years, when the doctors have gone on strike, it is made to look like it is the MPP that has made them to go on strike. When nurses go on strike, it is the MPP that made them go on strike. Today, I hear that teacher training colleges, the
colleges of
education, the lectures are
the association.
The lectures are on strike. I can very clearly easily see.
It's basically on a status issue. Not because of their emolument.
You see, that is the point I am making. It is on a status issue, but I can very easily see Namalo coming to sit here to say that it is the MPP that has worked for them to go. You understand? But they have gone on strike, not even on emolument, but on a status issue. Of course, the status will determine their emoluments.
Definitely.
You understand me?
That was mentioned in their release as well. Yes.
You see, these are people who would make attributions for every failing, and they are not willing to sit and ask the very hard questions.
Okay. The report also stated that because the MPP also you're having, and the NDC also will have their elections, etc., there's likely to be increased political activity, and
tensions.
Yes, and those could increase tensions within the period.
Agree.
And so it means that security needs to be taken a lot more seriously.
I agree. Political activity, even if it is a polling station chairman contest, there is tension. So we are going through ours. I will not sit here and tickle myself and laugh and say that it has been incident-free in my party. It doesn't happen.
Anyway.
In a contest, I say when it is an odikro in a village and it is between two brothers, tensions heighten. When it is an insignificant odikro in a village of 30 people, and two brothers contest, there will be some heightening of tension. In a big party like the MPP and in a big party like the NDC, I don't know, I'm sure you are going to have elections this year.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Constituency and national, I believe. There would be some tension. I mean, I think there would be some tension. I mean, so all I'm saying is that, yes, I think they're taking the indices and saying that based on these indicators, there will be heightened tension. I mean, It is child knowledge. Everybody knows. So I really and truly don't know why one should be arguing about this.
The train is going to the station. So if that's what they are going to use to back all those alarmist reports, then so sorry. Because everybody knows
that
intra-party
activity will generate some level of tension.
Yes, some level of tension.
But they are warning.
But we all, as our general secretaries and our chairman, keep telling people to keep calm, make sure you do it in a genuine way so that there will not be misunderstanding and everything. Give us where you have to make a report or your grievances, where you can see your grievances and all those things. So if that's what they are using to back that report, then so sorry, but the train is going to the station.
Well, the front page of the Enquiry has a story. The elephant is choking, cracks in MPP deepen as fire blazes in Greater Accra, Ashanti and West. Is it true?
I live in Greater Accra. I don't see. I'm not aware of. I'm not aware of any fire.
Right.
Oh, I'm not aware. There's a contest. Somebody will support another person. So what is it?
The paper did not say fire. It said cracks. So don't use the word fire. The paper have not said there's fire in MPP. It says cracks.
Cracks. But there's as fire blazes. There's fire.
So that the cracks, after the cracks, you accept.
Oh, what cracks?
Okay,
differences.
So let's look at.
Always be differences.
Okay. I don't know whether this one will be a difference to the two of you. The West Africa, the Ghana gas project. It was supposed to have been finished by April, May, we've been told. Now the date has been extended. It was supposed also to have been completed last year. The date extended to April this year. Extended this time, no time given indefinitely. I think that they will come up with a time for completion. Your comment, especially when we had enormous delays on this very project.
In fact, it's unfortunate. You know, you give project to people thinking they have to finish at a certain time. You know, they will say, oh, because of these challenges or that challenges, you know, we'll not be able to finish.
Well, that's belittling the points, because what has plagued that very project is more enormous than just because a contractor has a difficulty.
The project was given to a contractor, and it has delayed. He has not been able to finish. And I can't to tell you that I will finish it. Initially, he shifted the date to another date, and he has come out again that he cannot finish, and that's his telling us that he cannot finish on the scheduled distance. So let's look at ask him when he's going to finish. You know, it happens.
Okay.
Project, if your own house you are building, the contractor will tell you, I'll finish
that's
this.
That's a Ghana gas project.
That's what I'm saying. It's a project. Let's say if you are expecting some pipes from, let's say, Korea, and then something happened on the high seas. And
one container falls off the ship. Just that single container falls off into the sea.
It will cost a lot of. Because you see, once the container has fallen off the ship,
they have to go back and remake them. They are not
a whole lot of things, because most of these are done by our custom made.
Customized.
You understand? So you have to order and all those things. So if they have challenges, well, we should understand them.
I think that you used a most appropriate word. That's Honorable Member, you are belittling the whole thing.
Yeah, let's start with, let's say, the issue of the initial funding and how we can get the receipts coming in.
I think all of us must clearly accept that it is a very important project for this nation, not only because it will bring gas, but because the continuing flaring, or in fact, we are not flaring, we are re-injecting. And that is even creating problems for the output of oil. The more you inject, it tends to
the deposits are going down.
Yeah, it tends to reduce the output. So it is not in anybody's interest that we keep having this challenge as a nation. I mean, all of us want us to this country must do well. You understand?
Yeah.
But again, it goes back to, so what happened?
That's the question. That's what I want us to tackle.
So what happened? I think that, for me, really, I think that the excuses are almost beginning to be mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. Today, if it is not this, then it is that. If it is not, for he's the one who is saying it. And I want to reiterate that it is a very important project. I think that everybody must prioritize. Even in our own domestic settings, we all prioritize. Nobody has all the money they need to do anything. Not even the leading countries of the world. But I think that the difference, and that is what leadership is all about, is what do you take as important? If you do, then you will do everything to ensure that that which is important is prioritized. And I want to believe that my colleague, Delali, probably the education of our children is the most important. When we get our little pay after they have taken out all the loans, the first thing you do is that you put something aside for your child's education. If that's a priority we have. We have been, in the last 4 years, we have been going through one song after another. I think that the excuses and it's beginning to sound a little ridiculous. I do hope. I mean, there have been issues about CDB loan that has not come. There are issues about.
I mean, actually, for this very excuse, that's the thrust of this.
I don't. Did they give any reason why they are not
apart from the container falling off, and then.
But when the container fell off, they came and told us that by April we will.
Yeah. So now we're being told that again the release of funds from the CBD.
Okay. So I would hope that just as government found money, in between August and December, just as government found 8 billion here, if the Chinese are not bringing money, they should be able to find the remaining money here and prioritize and do this. I think that to do this is more important than giving money to go and do a confirm when there is no project document, or to go and plant trees, or to pay money in advance for laptop computers that are not even supplied.
You like that? You like that aspect, don't you?
You see, most of the time, whenever I'm also trying to do politics, be like, oh, normally want to do politics. So for this one, I will spare him.
Okay.
Oh.
But what I'm going to say about this thing is that the CDB loan will come. There were some difficulties. I think this week or next week. No, next week. They will meet the Chinese and then finalize everything. So if it is the CDB loan that is causing
you know that
delay,
for sure.
I think if it is that is causing
it is one of the two.
Yeah, if it is, then I'm telling you that the CDB loan will be resolved in the next maximum the next 2 weeks.
Okay, let's look at this for the next 5-10 minutes and see. I think 5 minutes will do. Pratt Gajekpo confused over Malo job, and we know Bendoche Malo. He used to work with the BBC.
Yeah.
Went to UN, held a number of positions there. Now we're being told, according to a news release from the presidency, that he's been appointed to be a communication advisor to the president and also communication spokesperson for the president. And Kwesi Pratt, renowned social commentator, journalist, etc., and communications lecturer, Professor Audrey Gajekpo, said they are confused over the lapses because we have a Ministry of Information. We have a number of communication spokespeople who have been undertaking a lot of tasks over the last period. So the appointment of a communication advisor to the president is a bit baffling.
When Professor Gajekpo, she's been on hibernation for a very long time. He's come back to give 1 or 2 comments, saying he doesn't know, he's confused and all this. If she's confused, okay, she has come out. So the presidency should, or the Minister for Education should educate her, Minister for Information should educate her as to the role Malo is going to play, etc., so that her confusion will be taken away from her, for her to understand actually what it is. Minister of Information is supposed to give us information concerning ministry, department and agency, and as well as the presidency. Things that are happening in the ministries, etc., clear everything. But communication at the presidency involve politics, involve the president's own personal official work that he's doing. Then also, he was a producer at the UN. No, he's going to be the head. And
it's not merely just a producer; it's a very big position.
Yes,
you make it sound as if it's just
at
a
the UN.
producer.
But now he's going to look at everything before things go out from the presidency to check and see things well before it comes as well. There is no confusion.
So the role,
because Pratt Gadepo was confused about the role. Why there is Ministry of Information and then President Communication. Kwesi Pratt was warning Malo that it's a slippery land or role that is going to play. He should be very, very careful that this is politics, that he has lived outside the country for a very long time.
He's definitely going to face some difficulty.
Yes, but he has lived outside this country for a very long time. He has been reading. We all take our information from the internet and papers and all those things. Now, because the world is a global village, we hear everything. But now he's going to be inside.
He's going to,
where
he's going
things
to have
that are happening there, things that are happening there are not reported. You know, there are things that happen at the
internal
politics. So he should now try as much as possible to avail himself with the internal politics. So he should be
it's as if it's a warning.
Yes.
Do we need to be going into this very argument at all?
But Gadepo says she's confused. But because the
president has made this appointment, whether the minister, because we have Stan Dogbe and a number of personalities who are in there undertaking a lot of communication for the president. This point in time,
I think that I didn't see why this should even create a matter to be discussed at all. Really, probably it is the history, it is the context that is informing this discussion. I want to believe that probably in the last few years,
I guess in the last decade,
that this dichotomy has obviously created some problems. I mean, I can't speak to it as a pope pronouncing ex cathedra, but at a certain time there seemed to have been some contest between Mahama Yariga, who was a spokesperson for the president, and Koku Anyidoho, who was director for communication, who was saying what. And then there was a Ministry of Information. Then Mahama Yariga got posted to the Ministry of Education, and then I think this has lingered on. I want to believe that this is why Kwesi Pratt is saying this to the newly appointed. How is he designated? Media.
No, communication advisor to the president and spokesperson of the presidency.
Okay. So I think that there's a context.
So that would be director of communications.
So there's a context. Some things have happened in the past. We may not be fully aware of all but the snippets that we had did indicate that there was some jostling, unnecessary jostling. I think that I want to believe that if this goes on for a long while and it does create some problem, I want to believe. For somebody of his caliber, I want to believe that before he takes on a job like this, I want to believe. I want to be charitable and say I believe that he would have done his homework and would only do it because very clear lines have been given to him, what he can say, what he can't say, how he interfaces with anybody else. I don't hope that all of these have been done. If it is done, then we probably would have some peace and quiet.
The precedent we've had in the past is the fact that we don't tend to have a certain convergence in communication for government and the presidency, and we're not going to say it's only happened in the last 4 or 5 years. During the Kufuor administration too, we had some lapses sometimes when there were difficulties as to what the information minister was saying and what the presidential spokesperson was saying as well, and this has lived with us through. How do we make sure we get government communication right? Now we're going to have somebody who is in charge of communication for the president, a minister who is in charge of information. Already we have deputy ministers that conduct activities
And a weekly briefing.
Is it weekly? I think almost every day, I think.
It's a daily thing. Are they still doing it?
Yes.
Are they still doing it?
Yes, they do it every day.
I see.
Every day, something is done at the Flagstaff House. So how do we make sure that there's a consensus and a convergence as far as...
That's why the president is trying to manage the information very, very by bringing Malo to come and see how best we're able to manage information that will come from the presidency, the information that will come from the ministries, departments, and agencies for Ghanaians' consumption. So I think the president has done well by bringing him to make sure that there will not be confusion where somebody will be issuing, people will be issuing conflicting statements. This time around, I believe things will come out well and everybody will see it will be clear and my professor or the people will not be confused.
Well, thank you very much. And I've had in the studio...
Are we done?
Yes. Okay. You wanted to make a comment?
I just wanted
to see a last word.
Yeah, he spoke authoritatively. Growing up, there was a newspaper in Egypt. It was called the Authoritative Al-Ahram.
Al-Ahram, it's still there. They have Al-Ahram online.
We're in Egypt.
No,
it's. I think it's the most circulated newspaper in Africa.
Egyptian Gazette.
But even in the news, they will say that it has been reported by the Authoritative Al-Ahram. So this morning, it has been reported by the Authoritative Ni Amazano Mali that the CDB load is coming. We are waiting. For those of us that are mere mortals, we are waiting. We hope it comes soon.
Oh, thank you very much. And in fact, I've enjoyed the discussion. My senior brother, Honorable Ajako.
Because of his voice, he tries to sound intimidating sometimes.
No. Me, they can't depend. Apart from he being political, I think he has analyzed his things well, and I'm so impressed about it. And I'm happy.
He's also impressed about you, I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. Maybe.
Trying to dodge some of the bullets.
But the thing is that next time, don't bring in politics too much.
All right.
No. What is the politics?
Okay. The gentleman who just speaking is a member of parliament for Ayawaso West Ward. He is Emmanuel Tremantin Ejakum. For many of you who remember him as the chief executive of the FDB then, now it's the FDA. And also, Ni Amasa Namwale is a member of parliament for La Dade Kotopong, all in the Greater Accra region. So that way it for AM Talk on the AM show, which is live on the Joynews channel of Multi TV. And we'll have to continue with a lot more. This time, we'll bring you a lot more playbacks and TVs and people's interviews on the late Komla Duma. Do stay on. You're still watching the AM show.